Okay, I'm Jerry McWorter, and we are sitting here to have a conversation with Sean King, the amazing Sean King. And of course, we're in a dumpy motel in Las Vegas after you've just managed to get knocked out of the One Pocket tournament.
Right.
So, in typical pool player fashion, that sounds like an appropriate start.
Yep.
All right, my first question, Sean King. So, when you were in grade school, how did they make fun of your name?
I don't want to say.
You don't want to say? It had to be Sean Queen. They had that was pretty automatic, right?
Kingling.
Kingling.
It's spelled S-E-A-N, so they'd say, the teacher would read off the name, she'd say,
Cian.
Cian King. Who's that?
Yeah.
That's Sean.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. It was a good last name.
Johnny Carson on his show introduced Sean Connery one time as Cian Connery.
Okay, no,
Right.
That's who I was named after.
Sean Connery.
My parents loved James Bond in 1985.
Nice. So even Johnny Carson made that rookie mistake. So you're a genuine pool player.
In my heart, it's in
In
my
your
blood.
heart.
I'd rather be doing it than anything else.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of bad days when you're playing pool. A lot of disappointment. You'll take the bad days. You'll take a bad day playing pool rather than a good day doing something else.
Yeah, only one guy gets to win.
Yeah.
And everybody else is a loser, right?
Well, yeah, I guess. But even coming in second or third or something in a big tournament or something that's worthy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get back to pool, but tell me about your military service.
Okay, I'm in college. I'm like 23, 24, and I decided to sign up for the Army National Guard in the infantry, and I wanted to deploy to Afghanistan, and I got my wish.
Now, let's talk about that decision for a minute. Afghanistan was going on thick and heavy, and you decided you wanted to go and be there and do that.
Yeah.
Knowing full well you could very easily get your head blown off.
Yep, I was
Or at least legs or IEDs or something bad.
pretty nuts. Maybe still a little nuts, but yeah, I wanted to go over and fight and be an American veteran.
So what year was this?
Joined in 08, deployed in 2011 to Afghanistan.
So you spent 2 years in the National Guard, which was stateside, in reserves?
Yeah, well, basically the Guard. So we went to Afghanistan for 1 year, one year deployment.
And what did you do there?
We were, we did a lot of combat missions, but the main thing we were was called QRF, Quick Reaction Force. So something's going on, maybe an IED goes off, or there's a firefight somewhere, or someone needs help, and we mount up in our trucks and roll out and try to save the day, right? Quick Reaction Force. And then the other ones were just searching in the villages for known bad guys.
So you were involved in firefights and all the real stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wanted to be. I wanted to be the guy on the top of the truck with the gun, and I got it.
What kind of a person wants to do that? Although you were in a company of guys that wanted to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And they knew I was just, they knew I would do it. And it's, oh, Sean will be the gunner. And of course.
Now, did you get injured?
I did. Luckily, not too bad. But I received a Purple Heart, which is the award you don't really want to win because
Right.
it means that you were injured.
That's not the one you want to earn. Yeah.
Right. But an IED blast went off. So truck goes up, we all go unconscious, and then the truck comes back down into the hole, and we're on the side of a cliff.
A hole big enough for a truck to
Giant truck, like a 10-foot tall truck.
knock completely off the ground,
Oh, raised up, yeah.
and then it digs a crater big enough that the truck fall back into the crater.
Yeah. Now, luckily, we had a great driver. His name was Gray, Specialist Gray. And we're hugging the side of a mountain, right? So we're coming this way across the mountain, and here's the walls. The lanes, if you watch videos of the mountains in Afghanistan,
There's no passing lanes.
there's no passing, right? And we had an oversized truck. So he hugs to the wall, and we know we're going to get hit, but we can't stop, and so we're just bracing for impact. Right?
How do you know you're going to get hit?
A report from ahead of us said that,
Oh.
that you're going to take a hit. So we know it's coming, so he drives closer to the wall than the cliff, and when we went up towards the cliff. Instead, they're trying to blow us off the mountain, right?
Yeah.
So we went this way instead of this way.
Because he hugged close enough that the blast tilted you guys that way. You're saying that's the good driver part. Is
Yeah.
he knew. Wow.
Yeah. So everyone in my truck lived, and we were lucky. We got out of there not in not too bad a shape. I mean, we all had to go to the emergency room and stuff from concussions and.
So how long till you were back in action?
Couple weeks.
Wow.
Um,
So at that point, did you decide maybe it's not the best idea to be in Afghanistan on a
that's about as
mission?
real as it gets. Yeah, it's scary. It was scarier knowing that we're gonna take a hit.
Yeah, I was thinking how much notice did you have? Was it 30 seconds or like 10 minutes or enough time?
I think it was like 2 or 3 minutes, but it felt like forever. You know, we're all just,
Wow.
you know, ready to get hit.
Yeah.
But we're lucky that we didn't hit more landmines, more IEDs. But because our whole job was to protect convoys and to be the security for these routes. So when you think about, I want to go 1 mile, right, down a road, that might take us 3 hours to search and clear every little
Wow.
possible thing.
So when you guys got blown up, you were the people that were supposed to be saving the other guys. So who saved you guys? How did it unfold from there?
We were in a 4-truck convoy, which is pretty normal. They hooked up to our truck, pulled it out of the hole after the firefight stopped going, and drug us back to camp, or to someone else's camp that was like a mile or 2 away.
So how long did you serve after that?
Till 2014.
So after that explosion, you were back in service.
Uh-huh.
And how much far longer were you in Afghanistan?
Another 2-3 months. Another 2-3 months.
So now when you look back to your service, by the way, thank you for your service. And I'd like to hear that you hear that from a lot of people.
They treat me pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm set now as far as VA paying me and
So
healthcare.
you came back with a disability?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, it's written as traumatic brain injury. So when you're in IED blast and you go unconscious, it's brain damage, right?
Yeah.
Well, the brain heals, I think, pretty fast, but the mental part. So I'm rated at like 70% disabled just for mental, not physical things. So PTSD, anxiety, depression, sleep disorder,
Yeah.
things like that. Those are all mental.
But you didn't come back and turn into a raging alcoholic or drug
Definitely
addict?
did.
You
Definitely did. Yeah, I was self-medicating
For how long?
for probably 6 years. I just drank alcohol to help sleep, to just put me in a better mood, or to not be irritable, and that obviously caught up with me.
But you got it under control.
Yeah. Well, I'm medicated. I've got doctors. I've got a wife who's a neuroscientist. That helps a lot. But yeah, I've been through some tough times. But
Wow.
I'd like to say that's all.
Yeah.
Past.
Well, you picked business playing pool where you have to perform under extreme pressure, and you've got to keep your head, and you've got to execute your fundamentals and execute with great accuracy under tremendous pressure. Did that come into your military service?
Much better player after my service, after my deployment.
And now you say you played better just due to the stress and
Yeah, and
well, maturity.
I mean, the Army toughens you up, and you know, makes you stronger mentally and physically. I didn't ever have to do anything tough before that.
Yeah.
When you come back and you miss a ball or two, things are in perspective. You know, you just
Right.
you get over things a lot quicker, or learn how to be patient and sit still. I could never sit in a chair. I was the worst at it. Waiting for my
Right,
shot.
right.
Well, if you're in the Army, you learn hurry up and wait all day. You're sitting there waiting for something to happen all day. So
Yeah.
I learned a lot of character stuff.
So how old were you before people around you got the idea that you were going to be a good player? How long had you been playing pool?
It only took a couple years for people to know that I was never going to stop playing pool. But I wasn't a natural talent right out of the gate. I had a few friends that I always wanted to beat. One named Bryce Loveland from Midwest City, and they had an arcade/pool hall called Jamaica Joe's. And as soon as I moved in with my father, as a child I lived with my mother. By the time I was a teenager, Dad had to take over. Moved in with him, and he had a pool table in the house.
Mm.
I never played on it. I was a golfer, so we would go play golf. And I'll tell you the story about how I ended up going to the pool room. But at 14, I got beat on I beat a guy out of like $20 on the golf course. That's big money for a junior high
Right.
kid. And he said, "Well, give me a chance to get my money back at the pool room up the street." I said, "Sure. I've got my own cue. You know, my dad's a pool player." And so I meet him up there, and he can run the table. And he's playing shade and putting the cue ball wherever he wanted it. I'd never seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he got his money back, but he whooped me bad. And
Got your nose open.
I got my nose open, yeah, and I never left the pool hall. I think like I might have been on the golf team for another week or two, and I was at the pool room. And I only lived like 2 blocks from there, from the pool room, so I could ride a bike or walk there.
Mm-hmm.
My mom had to pay child support to my dad, because my dad paid child support all these years to my mom, and I think it was like $200 a month or something. It was like $150 or $200 a month, something real low, right? 100% of that money went to pay my monthly pool time at Jamaica Joe's. Just went straight to there.
So this is Oklahoma City.
Uh-huh.
So you were born and raised in Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
That's still where you live now.
Still where I live, yeah.
So who were the good players that were around at that time?
Well, Joey Gray, when he was like 13, he played almost at a pro level, which is
Oh,
crazy.
really?
And then shortly after that came Chip, but I was always pretty close to Chip until him and Joey went on the road, and then Chip came back looking like Joey. So the good players I saw that I wanted to follow were Joey, because he's so young and so good at pool. James Walden was around. He was known for being a great money player.
Yeah.
Shane McMahon, who's still a favorite to win about any bar table tournament. John Gabriel,
Mm-hmm.
from Tulsa.
So you were playing on big tables mostly, or
Yeah,
about half and half? Or?
yeah. Billy Roberts, who owned Jamaica Joe's at the time, and he now owns Bill's in Oklahoma City. He just told me, if there's no good players in this pool room, if you look around, that didn't learn on the 9-foot table.
Yeah.
So I took that to heart, and I hated playing on the big table for a little while, just because
It's demoralizing.
I didn't like missing shots, you know.
Yeah.
And then all the tournaments were only on the small table, so
Oh, really?
practice on the 9-foot, compete
Yeah.
on the 7.
So how serious are you about your pool game right now? Because I know you've been involved in the billiard industry in a lot of different capacities. You've done a lot of entrepreneurial things around pool, and the Pool and Around show is kind of one of your newest incarnations.
That's the latest.
Yeah.
That's the latest YouTube.
So
how serious am I? Not too serious. I used to really identify as a pool player.
Right.
You know, like how well I'm playing this month or what I won lately.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of given up a lot of that. Plus my finances have changed where I don't have to win. or have to go on that trip and,
Right.
and risk everything. So I would say like a level 8 versus 10 seriousness.
What parts of the game have you struggled with?
So for sure, I'm not the best ball pocketer. So I can make any shot on the table, but my fundamentals, I never got professional coaching on that. I feel like my strategy is up there, knowledge of the game, choosing the right shots. There's guys that play under me that shoot straighter than I do. They can roll the ball literally straighter than I can.
Boy, shooting straight is huge. I mean, especially in any kind of a short race or short run game, being able to pocket balls really consistently is huge. I mean, what we were watching the one pocket tournament today, we were watching Corey and we were watching Tony Chohan, we're playing Corey.
And Billy Thorpe was playing Evan Lunda.
And we're playing Evan Lunda, and all of them were shooting shots that are absolutely missable. They're risking the game, absolutely risking the game. And if they're stuck, if their opponent's on the hill, they're risking their place in the tournament, shooting at that ball.
And you gotta have a lot of nerve and trust in your shooting. And I got like 2 different games. One when I'm trusting myself and feeling everything, and the other one's my B game or my C game. And it's I'm liable to miss anything down the table.
Right.
So my shooting could be a little bit better, but I'm working on it this year.
I know you're a good one pocket player. I played just one pocket. I assume your rotation game is probably your best game.
Yeah. I don't know all the moves and strategies in one pocket. Or can I hit all those bank shots and little ticky shots?
Yeah.
9 ball, I can beat the ghost, so like if I start off with ball in hand,
Yeah.
I can stay in position and usually run out.
Great game, man. It gets in your blood. I quit playing for about 10 years. I was still making cues and I was around it all the time. It was crazy. I mean, I'd literally be at pro events and the greatest players in the world are literally playing 30 feet over there, and I never even looked over there. I was doing business, making cues, raising my family, all that. Just wasn't interested. Didn't even pay attention. I knew all the players. I'd been around since I was a kid, but I just didn't have any interest. And then suddenly the light just came back on again. And I think I saw somebody sent me on Facebook a straight pool match, and I always knew straight pool was the best game, but California never played it. I'd never even seen anybody run 100 balls,
Mm-hmm.
And somehow the juices got flowing again. And I started playing again. Never going to really get it out of your blood, when you're.
I get the
when you
hook
grew up
with
it.
Straight pool. My high run, you want to send me to say my high run?
Yeah.
86.
86.
I was trying for 100 and I gave up. It just drove me nuts.
Yeah.
And I know the shot I missed for 87.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, first time I ran 100, I was playing a guy in a little league tournament, and I'm running balls, and I was in the middle of a rack, and he clapped. I didn't know what I was just running balls. I had no idea, and he clapped, and it kind of distracted me. I didn't know what that was about, and I kept running through the rack, and he says, "You just ran it." I said, "Why'd you clap?" He says, "You just ran 100." Oh wow!
He was watching the whole time.
He was watching. Yeah, he was doing the beats, and he clapped at 100.
Way to go!
Yeah,
that's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
You'll never forget that day.
Well, that was my first 100. Yeah. So.
I think it's great for me to practice straight pool, but I never play anyone straight pool.
Yeah.
Mainly because I don't want to sit and watch someone shoot that long.
Yeah.
But.
Oh, it's the most aggravating game in the world when it's not rolling good for you and they're just running balls, and then every time you get up you're stuck,
Yeah.
And then you finally run 3 balls and get a break shot and blast into them and you're stuck. Oh, it will make you. Of all the games there are, the ratio of people that break their cue, it's playing straight full more than any other game.
It's torture.
Oh, it's torture. When it's running bad, it's torture. Sometimes I get play guys at the pool room and stuff, and if I get running balls and stuff, I always say, "Isn't this fun?"
No, it's not.
It's not. It's torture.
No.
It's torture. So how much pool are you playing these days?
I like to play 3 to 4 days a week. For the last 4, 5, 6 months maybe, I've been going to the gym with my dad, and then we go to the pool room right after and practice for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. Do you play together?
Yeah.
How's that, the father-son
Oh,
thing?
like he matches up so good. Like, I mean.
Oh, he's making you spot him or
Oh, huge, yeah, stupid spots. Yeah.
Funny.
Like,
That's funny. Well, it's like my wife Jan was a professional player. I mean, sure, for years she was president of the WPBA. You know, she was a good player, but we never played together. The husband and wife thing is probably really different than maybe the father-son thing.
Like one of our latest spots that we've done. He only really plays on the bar table.
Mm-hmm.
He's 73, and I'm 37. So our latest spot is he gets 2 cue balls.
What?
2 cue balls. So we're playing like 9-ball, right?
Yeah.
Break. Sometimes he gets ball in hand in the beginning, but I said we cut that out. He's too good. But he gets 2 cue balls, so we put the other cue ball in the dead middle of the table, like we're at the 5-ball spot.
And wherever it gets knocked around, he gets to pick whichever one he wants to shoot.
Yeah. So he can like play safe.
So you can't play safe on two cue balls.
You get it?
Yeah.
And we're pretty close.
And the other cue ball stays on the table.
Yeah.
While he picks that one, and then the other.
Like
cue ball.
I'll only get the measle ball, and he'll get the measle ball and the regular white cue ball.
And then when he keeps shooting, the measle ball stays on the table.
Yeah.
Can he switch back to the other ball?
Yeah, at any time.
At any time.
At any time,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
How can you win that game?
It's tough.
You can win. You can win that game. Well, if you just
You
run
gotta
out.
run out.
If you just run out.
You gotta run out.
All right, I invented a pool game.
Okay.
Are you ready for this? It's actually a great game.
Okay.
3 balls. You just put 3 balls on the spot. You break the 3 balls. You got to hit them hard enough to where they hit the back rail, and then from wherever they lie, you got to make all 3 balls into one pocket, and you get 1 point. It's called 3-1-1. You got to make 3 balls into one pocket, then you get 1 point.
Any pocket.
Which if you pick that corner pocket, you got to run all 3 balls in that pocket, and that gives you 1 point, and you played like 25 points. Then it's their turn. If you run all 3, you get to break them again, but then it's their turn.
You don't have to pick your hole before you break.
No, but break the balls, and however they lie, whatever you figure the best pattern to run all 3 balls in the one pocket.
Do you get ball in hand?
No, from where it lies, and you got to break them. The 3 balls, rattle them around enough to where they hit the back rail, and you can't just soft break or anything.
We'll try that tonight.
It's really cool. It's a fun little game.
I'm
Yeah.
just sitting around watching. We gotta play something.
Yeah, and
Not straight pool.
I'll tell you how I invented this game.
Okay.
Because at the Super Billiards Expo, you know, all the cue makers have the cue maker area, and they have one pool table that sit in the middle of the area for people to try out the cues, right? But invariably, people want to just sit and hit balls and spend just play pool, and they use the table playing pool. So they only put 3 balls on the table so the player can just, try the cues out, not sit and play a pool game. So I invented a pool game so I could monopolize the table. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a fun little game. It's a fun game, and you'd be surprised. I mean, you can run 4, 5, 6 in a row. All the balls in one pocket, and then you break again, and you're just playing good patterns, and you might have to bank one or whatever, but you can go 6 or 7 in a row easy and not make one.
This is like a super advanced version of 3-ball.
Yeah, super advanced version. Yeah, it's advanced play. I mean, amateurs, ding-dongs aren't going to be able to play shape and pick the right pattern and play shape and run 3 balls into one pocket. It's kind of fun.
I like that.
Yeah, we should try it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we will.
So, talk a little bit more about your pool game. It's interesting to watch great players miss a ball that they're clearly supposed to make, and the reactions that they have. Like Efren, I mean, just laughs and just scratches the back of his head and laughs,
And drops that moment.
Yeah, if you can let that go and have that not be a commentary on your life, what a powerful thing that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had some experiences where played real bad or lost a bunch of money or, didn't want to play for months afterwards.
Yeah.
I just identified with it.
Right.
Made it part of me, and you can't do that.
I've become much more fascinated over the last few years with one pocket. The pool room I grew up in, Jack Cooney was hanging around there quite a bit and that's a whole story in itself, that he had one particular guy he was playing shape on, and he was there for months and ended up beating the guy out of probably 50,000, over a period of time. So those road stories you hear about them pulling into town and setting up shop and just becoming one of the guys and all that, absolutely watched him from top to bottom. So I was watching him play one pocket all the time, but I was a kid and I didn't understand what was going on, not till you get older and start then really appreciating the fine points of the game.
It's the best game because you can handicap a match. Like if you want to play 9-ball with someone, if you can run the balls and they can't, you can't really match up the game.
Yeah.
But it allows any level of player to play with.
I think the biggest reason why one pocket is so becoming popular and enjoyable is because you get to everybody gets to shoot a lot. You might get 30 shots a game where you're just rolling a ball or trying to bank something or playing safe, but you're back and forth to the table. You don't even need to sit down. You get to shoot a lot. Maybe you don't get to make a lot of balls. You're trying to just make 8 will do the trick. But you get to shoot a lot. Straight pool, you get to sit in the chair, miserable into the electric chair. And 9-ball too, You can go a few racks easy and get nothing. Kick at a ball, miss the kick, then lose 3 more, and it's just horrible. So
bank pool, I'm starting to play.
Oh, that's the biggest tournament in Derby.
It is, but I think that's just because they're getting in as players versus paying their week pass to view it. So
Right,
you might as well play.
Absolutely, but it's also that part of the country.
That's true.
You're close to Ohio and Kentucky, and I've always found that kind of fascinating, as players that grow up where everybody's playing bank pool, and they don't even hardly learn to run out, but they're banking balls from the very beginning. Isn't that weird?
I like it. I think the players that start out banking end up better shooters overall.
Yeah.
And it also teaches you probabilities, odds, gambling, betting on this shot, and decision making. So if you watch a great bank pool player, it's like a poker hand every shot. The odds, and
right.
Also, there's no hangers.
Yeah, everything's missable.
In bank pool, there's no easy bank.
Everything's missable. Yeah, you're right. That's interesting. I didn't think about that in terms of calculating odds.
The games where you have to. Mike DeLauder put it best to me in the last couple months. He said, I play games where I miss all the time. Bank pool, he misses half the time or more that he shoots in the bank, right? One pocket, you're going to miss shots. But if you don't play those 2 games, I think it's going to be hard to develop into a top tier player. Like you got to play all the games.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the pool and around show, because I know you're very fascinated with the history of the game.
Yes.
You're fascinated with the players.
I am. I think that we've done 40 interviews now with 40 different people, and I've probably learned 400 things that I didn't know. I've got a great partner. His name's Chris. And the way we got started is I wanted to find a way that I could travel and still be able to play pool, pay my entries, pay my gas, pay my hotel. So I wanted to be a streamer. So I was going to stream matches.
So did you go down that road?
Well, hold on.
Okay.
I streamed 1 match.
With your equipment?
No, I had to borrow the equipment.
Okay.
We made up a name called Sean King Streaming.
How original.
I didn't even make it through the whole event. I can't sit still for 4 hours or 2 hours. I can't do it.
What about 12?
No chance. So, that didn't work. And then Chris Wilmoth, who's also from Oklahoma, not from Oklahoma City, said, look, I'm doing this show where we interview pool rooms and pool players. And I said, well, I can do that. That's way more fun. I get to go to a tournament, interview the players there, and then do whatever I want. I don't have to sit and be a control desk operator or have a. So I really like the interviews. Being a streamer is very tough. I don't even know how to edit a video or really to upload it. Chris does all that.
Who do you think's the most famous player to come out of Oklahoma or Oklahoma City Oklahoma? I know who I think it is.
Who?
Ronnie Allen.
Ronnie Allen, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a generation before me even.
Yeah.
And that's 2 generations before you, but.
I remember before I even played pool, I was just a little kid. My dad wanted to go watch James Walden play Alex Pagulayan at the pool room, Chester's, which is where I play now. And
This is how long ago?
oh, I'm like 9, 10.
So
I end up, because it's this big 8 or 10 a head match, sleeping under one of the bar tables, just because my dad didn't want to leave
sure.
the match. So I just
Yeah.
spent the night there overnight underneath the pool table while they're playing this match.
Yeah.
And I didn't know who Alex Pagulayan was or James Walden, but the whole room did. The other ones, my generation, Shane McMahon, especially on a bar table. I mean, you could just put his ball anywhere, super spin the cue ball. So, great players. I mean, you got to talk about Joey Gray and Chip Compton, especially Chip
They're
Compton.
certainly the new generation, young generation. Buddy Hall wasn't from there, but he made residency.
Yeah, him and Grady
Oklahoma City
Matthews
for
lived
quite a while.
there. They lived there for I think 5 or 10 years or something. They stayed there.
Is that Grady's where they played?
They played.
Chester's.
It's called Lucky's now, but it used to be called True Loves, and it's in Southwest 44th and Main.
Okay.
That's where all the action was, and it's where they could get staked for big money. It's kind of a rough part of town. Nothing's changed. It still is, but pool room's great, and they just remodeled it. It's not you could take a date there maybe.
What else do you want to tell me about the Pool and Around show? You guys are interviewed. He does 40 different interviews. You said.
Mm-hmm. One with you.
One with me. Yeah.
Famous cue maker.
The famous cue maker. Yeah. Well, now I'm getting even.
My goal with this is one, to learn as much as I can. I mean, if I were just to call up some of these people, not knowing them, and say, hey, can I just pick your brain and get free pool lessons for an hour? And there's no way they do it, but because we do it in an interview setting, and then they get to share the story of their life, maybe not just their pool accomplishments. Hopefully we're creating something that's timeless, where when someone looks up Rodney Morris or Jerry McWorter, instead of just some commercial for them or them playing in an event, you get to see a little bit about what their life is like, or their family, or
the characters in pool are so interesting, and sometimes I wonder if we're losing the characters. That they were definitely more characters when I was growing up.
Hustlers. I mean, people you didn't want to share your information or your knowledge. You wanted to keep it guarded, and then keep a sucker a sucker. When I grew up, people didn't want to teach me how to do anything. They wanted to play me for money.
Yeah.
And
it's a different world.
Now the information's out there. You can play as good as you want. There's no excuses.
Everything's on YouTube. There's so much you can learn, but then there just seems to be that dose of talent that's just sprinkled over certain people. And there's others that, we all know people that literally play 30 hours of pool a week, week after week after week, year after year after year, and never get better.
And they've never ran 30 balls.
No, and they're not, they're never going to be good players. I think some of that is definitely discipline, not really working hard at things that are important. There's a question I want to ask you. What about your game was something that came difficult that you really had to work on?
Being still.
Not moving your head?
My whole body.
Not just being still.
Yeah, like shooting, just having the arm move.
Yeah.
Not moving your head or your hips or swaying or when you come forward, you
raising your body
offset the weight, countering your movement. Being still, and that was probably my biggest breakthrough. I realized, wow, I can actually make that cue ball go where I want if I don't move.
And then doing it under pressure.
The next one, and this is something I will work on forever, is my mental game. Now, when you say mental game, I don't mean strategy on the table.
Mhm.
I'm talking about following up a poor shot with a good shot, recovering well, losing a game or losing a match even, and then being able to go ahead and perform after that. So that was probably that took me a long time, and I'm still working on it, to bring my best game even after losing or performing
Yeah.
bad. To focus on the process
Yeah.
of playing pool instead of the outcome. Make this ball,
Yeah.
win this rack,
Yeah.
place in the tournament, win money. All those are outcomes, and I
Right.
used to be totally outcome driven. You know, the first question is, well, did you win? How much money did you win?
Yeah.
The right questions for me now are, did I run my process?
Right.
You know, what percentage of the time did I run my mental or physical process? Also, I thought I was better than I was.
Mm.
And I found out, I got to hang out with Mark Wilson at Lindenwood University when they still had it in the tables. I parked my RV there and I went there for like 2 or 3 days, and he just let me join class with all the students. And then even, you know, hook me up and hit the cue ball and see how many millimeters I'm off on the different
Right.
shots, and he pulls it up on the iPad, and I'm like, how do I ever make a ball?
Yeah.
Like, and I think a lot of players are like that, where they can play really well, and then they miss, and you don't know why.
Yeah.
They don't have
They don't have a checklist to be able to sit in the chair and go through that checklist and find out which part was missing. Well, I did this, or I did. Did you watch the cue ball hit the object ball? Oh no. Yeah. Were you absolutely conscious that you stayed dead frozen over the ball long after it was gone?
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't remember that part. Yeah. And that checklist of being able to go back through it, that's the mental stuff. Being able to go back through it and find out what it is that needs to be corrected, and by the next shot get up there and correct it and have not crucified yourself in the meantime.
I guess one of the other struggles I had is I wanted to emulate other players, because I love to watch pool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll be watching pool when we leave here. I'll be watching some big one pocket match or
Yeah.
match. I love to watch pool, but I would start playing like the players I was watching. Or I'd watch Efren Reyes play, and then all of a sudden I'm getting up there doing this.
Uh-huh.
Or
Osmosis.
or I watch John Schmidt play, and now all of a sudden my wrist is cocked forward, and you got to find your own way to play, and you got to be yourself. If you're not being yourself, you can't trust yourself, and that's the big deal with pool. You got to trust exactly what you're doing.
So who are the players that you were trying to emulate? Or, I mean,
Of course, James Walden,
yeah.
and he's got the
What like short, compact
Oh,
stroke?
yeah. just tiny little punch strokes.
Mm.
As a kid, Joey Gray, chin on the cue, high elbow, and we're built way different,
Right.
me and him, and that didn't work. Then I followed Jeremy Jones, tall, lanky guy, and cups his wrist like I do, along with Gabe Owen. Same cup in the wrist, long arms.
Did you try to change your grip? Had you gone through different ways of trying to?
Not until recently, and that's helped my ball pocketing a little bit. I was a roller.
Oh, you're okay. Yeah.
Even drop the elbow.
Mm.
If you do it your whole life, you can kind of start to do it pretty
Well,
good.
that's the point. You can do anything if once you work it hard enough and get enough repeatability, you can make anything work. But often those things are just dead ends. You're going to go down a bad alley that just is not, and then trying to reverse and backtrack and get down another road is, most people just won't do it. They'll just keep trying to push through with that bad habit that they've got,
My biggest fundamental that I do that keeps me in tune is not to pay attention to my grip or my arm or my stance or even my stroke. It's to think about how the cue stick itself needs to move for the shot, and then allow my arms to do that. My arm.
Mm-hmm. Do you videotape yourself?
Used to all the time.
Yeah, pick it out different things, and
Used to all the time. I think everyone should do it.
absolutely.
What you should do is film yourself playing well,
Yeah.
So that you can always go back to that.
Mhm.
You know, and you're also reinforcing yourself playing well. You know, thinking about it,
Right,
imagining.
sense memory, trying to get a sense of how it feels mentally and physically and all that when it's working.
Yeah, and get rid of all the videos of yourself playing bad. You don't want to reinforce that. Or
No,
study
but you
it.
gotta. Well, no, I think you do gotta pick out certain things, and you gotta go. Look, my head's moving.
Yeah.
You know, like you're saying, being perfectly still, because you can't see yourself play.
What else do you want to talk about? I guess a lot of people have come to know me in pool from selling pool products. I was with John Barton, JB Cases, when he came to America. So I got to be like his first sales guy, and set up booths and travel around the country. Do you remember the giant house that we built inside of the expo?
With the zip ties?
With the whiteboards on the walls,
Yes.
all the way?
Yeah, and that cage.
Yeah.
Was that, and everything was zip tied together? Wasn't the cage kind of zip tied together?
Well, we've used all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. I remember John, when you just got started in the business.
Without the JB Custom Case Tour, I would have never been able to travel and play and compete with the people that I've been able to play with. So before you could go online and design a case, and before it was really popular or known, it was really cool to show up in an event and, you know, a handful of people design a custom case with you. So I met a lot of people in pool through that. Did some other stuff in pool, but that's probably, selling pool cases is probably how most people got to know me.
Huh. So now John bought the pool room, your neighborhood pool room.
Yep.
So you're still kind of
Still hanging out with John. There's a couple other pool rooms worth mentioning in Oklahoma City. One is Billy Roberts. Billy Roberts was like daycare for me when I was a teenager. Like, he was like my second dad, not my dad, but like, he was sure gonna tell my dad if I did anything acting up in the pool room. So he was a really good influence on me, and a good player too. He'd be, you know, in the high 600s or higher for when he played. And then the other one is Lucky's, like I told you about, and Will Worthy, and Will Worthy does a great job. I mean,
that's who owns Lucky's?
That's who runs it.
Who runs it?
And him and Patrick own it, but he's there all the time. Every one of his staff knows how to treat people, talk to people. And they're investing a lot of money into their equipment, like the lights, for example. If you've got a pool room in your area and they've got brand new Predator or the equivalent LED lights and perfect pool balls and new cloth and diamond tables, you're in a good spot. So yeah, and letting people pay monthly, you know, they give a lot. So those three pool rooms.
Good. Well, glad I could sit down with you and record a lot of this stuff. Of course, I learned a lot of things about you that I didn't know before. Very interesting. I wish you guys the best of luck with the Poolin' Around show. In all the different things I've done in my life, I think the best piece of advice is you have to enjoy the journey. You've got to enjoy the process of what you're doing. Like you're saying, not talking about what the end result is going to be, because you just got to enjoy the process of learning, improving, and working it, and just keeping straight ahead. And that's what you guys are doing. Just keep improving and enjoy what you're doing and keep going forward.
Oh, I would do it if I mean, hopefully the channel builds and there's some money coming in that will help pay for these trips, like going to Derby, going to the US Open, coming here to Vegas. There's a cost to all that. So hopefully that'll come around, but I would do it either way. I would do every one of these interviews for free.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty.
If no one ever got to see the videos, and I just got to keep them.
That's what I'm talking about. Enjoying that process and enjoying what you're doing, and just keep pushing forward, doing the best, keep improving your product.
Thanks for the advice. Thanks for all the advice you've given to me.